Hello everyone, Russell Wright from networkempire.com and onefeedtorulethemall.com, and so glad that you could make it for the follow-up private members webinar on the OneFeed process. And today I know Sue plans to get super technical, but also only technical enough so that you can implement it easily. And we have been talking about the things we're going to be covering. We've got some great process maps, and I want you to feel free to ask any questions if you're confused. I know that sometimes I tend to make things a bit too complicated. Sue has a great way of unraveling them and putting them step by step. But in the event that you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. We'll try to clarify anything we can in this webinar. And with no further ado, I'm just going to step out of the way, and Sue's going to start right in on where we left off last week, and probably a little recap, I imagine.
No recaps.
No
Oops.
Recaps?
And coffee cups. That's all we're doing. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. I've got more things to share than I can shake a stick at. So last week, you'll recall, we were up here. We were just basically talking about your blog and what you could do with your blog. And we didn't even get to cover all of the steps here. So we're going to cover all the rest of the steps, and we're going to talk about what to do with your YouTube feed, and we're going to talk about what to do with your G+ feed. We'll briefly cover how to create your G+ feed in case you missed that webinar, which was a free webinar at the beginning of this, and we'll show you all of the cool things then that you can do with it. All right, so let me pull out my trusty dusty week 2. Oops, that's what's not to do. Let's come back here to what we are going to do. So you'll recall all the pretty colors we had with what we were tracking here. Now, what we needed last week was basically just our URL. But this week, some of the stuff that you're going to need to do, you're going to want your base URL too. So for example, most of the times it's pretty simple. Like let's say you've got your blog is theme-zoom.com and your feed URL is theme-zoom.url. Let's just do this for a second. Okay, so this is my blog, and this is going to be my base URL, and then, or what I call my base URL, and then the feed is actually here. And so most of the time, oh, criminies. I had this problem last week.
What happened?
I tried to go to the feed on themezoom.com, and it wants to just, I reinstalled my operating system, and it's just not been the same since. It's kind of like when you wash your hair. Let me try that, see if that wants to go a little bit. There we go.
When you wash your hair? I'm trying to make the jump from washing my hair.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you just wash your hair, you can't do a thing with it. You just reinstall your operating system, you can't do a thing with it. It's a girl joke, sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely a girl joke. All the girls are laughing at me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Both Eve and I.
Yeah.
So that's your feed URL. And most of the time it's really easy to get from one to the other. It's just your Google thing, which is radically different. Obviously, your for example, if I were going to go to G+, what is that? G+RSS.google.com? How do I get to my G+ page, Russ?
Okay, just go to google.com, assuming you're logged in.
Yeah.
Okay, and then go to the upper left-hand corner where it says Sue.
This, there, that, there.
I'm not saying anything. All I can see is a spreadsheet. I mean, a process map.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's not cool. Hang on. Screen of monitor 2.
Yeah, that's what other people are saying. They can only see.
You can only see, you can't see the...
No, I can see it. You're good now. See
Okay.
that Sue, that plus Sue in the upper left-hand corner of your screen? Left?
Left.
You're on the left.
This of, oh, that left. Okay.
Okay. And now click, you can tell how much Sue loves Google+.
Yeah.
And you can just click on your face, and that should take you to your profile.
All right. So that's going to be your actual base URL. And terms of Google+. So in other words, when you're going to promote an actual base URL for some of the things that we do today, that's going to be the URL that you're going to want to do. All right, so now you understand what we're talking about with these top two columns here. The rest of this is everything that we talked about yesterday. The one thing that I will say is we're going to replace FeedShark this week. Not that FeedShark is a bad thing, but it's just like the introductory thing that we do. And so we're going to, I don't think we talked about Pingler last week, and we're going to talk about Pingler this week. So without further ado, let's just, I'm kind of like biting a little bit of time because we've only got a few people on. We had like 30-some people signed up, and there's only 11 people here, and I don't want them to complain to the help desk that we started without them, so I'm giving a few minutes for a few more people to hop on.
We do have people slowly trickling in.
Yeah. So let's just talk. For the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do some feed splicing, and this is like where we combine feeds together to get a little bit more oomph. Now the idea behind this is you take a popular feed, you take somebody who's posting a lot and they've got some really exciting content, and you mix it with your feed, and it's going to get picked up more just because they've got, maybe they're posting more often, maybe like your blog you're only posting once or twice a week, and these guys are posting 4 or 5 times a day, that kind of a thing. So that there's more activity happening. It makes it look like a better feed to pick up all the way around. There's other controversy behind it, but that's the thing that I can say just right off the bat that I know without any controversy that happens a lot. It also gives you the opportunity to have your feed out there in more than just one feed URL. So that increases the chances that your feed is going to get picked up and utilized more. So it gives you other ways of expressing it. You can give it titles and descriptions, and you can use more keywords and all of that kind of good stuff. So let's just spend a little bit of quality time looking for some interesting feeds to splice with. The first thing that we're going to do is splice with a YouTube channel. So there's this, if you look right here, you've got keyword, channel, comments, site, YouTube, /user, and that's just a little bit hard to understand until you actually see it in practice. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to come over here, and what I'm looking for, what I want to do is replace the keyword with the actual keyword that I'm looking for. So let's say, do you have a good topic in mind, Russ? I was
supposed to have a topic?
Always. You should always have a topic in your back pocket.
Well, I do, but they're not usually very appropriate.
Excellent. So
DNS hijacking is my current topic of the moment.
DNS hijacking. DNS?
Yeah.
I see. I don't know that I'm looking for that.
Inside joke.
No, there's no such thing found.
Too small.
All right.
Quick, put up a channel. No, it's too tiny of a niche.
Yeah, it is a very tiny niche. Okay, so let's go back to SEO.
What are you going to be showing them? You're going to be showing them, what do I need a topic for?
I'm just showing them how to find a quality YouTube channel to braid with their stuff right at the moment.
Okay, yeah. You're probably going to want keywords to be broader. Sadly, there really are few targeted niche channels. People kind of, social channels do everything in their brother, you know.
Yeah.
So you can look, for example, one of the projects I'm working on is, it's hard to get even local with it, like cosmetic dentistry is a good example.
Sure.
And you can actually use just pure dentistry.
Dentistry, right.
As well. And you don't even have to get into cosmetic dentistry. That's an example.
Right.
You can get into, you know, these types of things, and you'll find some channels on that.
So the reason that you're looking for channel comments is you're looking for channels where there's a lot of activity. If there's comments in the channel, then clearly there are people interested in it. If you can't find, if no results come back with channel comments, then just take that out. And then site youtube.com. Obviously, I'm looking for this stuff on YouTube, right? I'm actually looking for a YouTube channel. So this brings me back a feed right here. And what I'm looking for once I hit this, I'm looking for the page rank, and I'm looking to see how often they actually post videos. And I'm not impressed with either of those, so let me come down here to the next one. That's also not giving me page rank. This is bringing me into feed, which I don't actually remember it bringing me into /feed before, Russ.
Well, that's a new and recent change.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And you don't really want to use that feed for many reasons.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not the feed that I'm looking for.
You want to use the GData feed.
Yeah. So when I actually click back to him, which is where the page rank would be, there's no page rank there either. So
yeah, sometimes it can take a little while to find a channel, but
yeah.
you have to go more vertical. Just keep going vertical. You know, if you're in cosmetic dentistry and there's nothing, go to dentistry like she has, and you know, sometimes you'll find something, sometimes you won't.
Let me go back to SEO for a second.
You can also look in tangent terms.
Yep. I should probably just sally forth down the dentistry.
Yeah, or a dentist even.
Yeah, it helps if you spell it properly too. Try dentist. Pretty much the same results, actually.
Okay.
And I still don't have any page rank. Not the page rank. I mean, page rank is just an indicator of how popular they are, right?
Yeah,
so
or if you have page rank's an indication of the channel itself being popular. You know, we might want to go into the tech industry because it can take a while. We've actually ended up finding a couple things for dentistry, and it took, you know, some time to find it. We actually went through a tangent. But if you type in like social media, or, you know, if you go into the tech fields, you'll find page rank 4 through 7 on YouTube channels, and their feeds are constantly active because they're more technical.
Fascinating.
Okay, just go type in social media if you want to give an example of something.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, because it's okay to use these. If you have an SEO company or social media, you'll find some channels that are pretty high-end.
Maybe just not today. Now, this is actually the most time-consuming bit. Okay, there's one.
Yeah, your toolbars.
5 there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't
so
think
you have
toolbars.
And it's really an issue of frequency update. You want to make sure that these guys have updated frequencies.
2 months ago.
Yeah, that's pretty not that great
either. That's not that great.
You'll find that most of your channels that are active with PageRank are at the top of the vertical. So you're going to have to go all the way up the silo, and it's okay. You can grab them as long as they're a co-occurrence of 50% or greater, you know, somewhere in there, anywhere from 20 to 50%. You can actually braid them in your feed, and it shouldn't be a problem. The purpose here, I just want to make clear, the purpose is to make sure that they're frequently publishing, and that when you braid your feed, you're able to be carried along by their feed.
Right.
Now, if you're publishing more than they are, that's fine too.
I would take frequency of publishing, like this 2 hours, 2 weeks. I would take frequency of publishing and popularity over PageRank any day.
Correct, absolutely. And if you can get both, it's great.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have PageRank now, they probably will, depending upon the age of the channel.
Oops.
And also, guys, it is good to look at the quality of the channel. If they're just publishing crap, or they're a YouTube clone, if they're using Video Swiper or any of these other things where, you know, they're just borrowing a lot of stuff, they're probably not going to be around long because of Google's new policies. So 3 strikes you're out policy. So it really does depend. Look for quality content. I use demand media for the SEO industry. In fact, you can all use it. It's fine because they have such PageRank. Like, you're never going to get the PageRank they get. Demand Media, and O'Reilly Media, any of those big agencies for your own personal SEO and social media firm, PageRank 7, updated every day. You can't go wrong with that because it's related to your topic. Okay, so find something like that in the vertical of your client, and if nothing exists, well, that's information in and of itself. Try to find something related, like if you're in dentistry and you can't find a PageRank and a regular updated one, go to medical. Or go to pharmaceutical. Find something that's generally in the same magazine category.
Right.
Preferably keyword-based.
Wow. Oh, they're doing some interesting mashups there.
Yeah, recent changes to the profiling and the recent updates to the YouTube literally has changed the panel in the last 3 weeks.
All right.
So it's kind of hard to say where things are going to go with it. But
The other thing you have to do is once you've found the channel you think you want, you got to make sure that it's actually about the topic that you think it's about, and that it wasn't just one single video that brought the channel up. But assuming that this was on track with topics, it's great because it's got heaps and heaps and heaps of views, and he's putting videos out every couple of days. So this would be a great channel.
Definitely.
So then, you know what I don't think I have in my process map that I didn't grab was how to get the YouTube channel. It's a very funky thing with the G. Where did I have that? Hang on. Can't be too far. If you want to look for that while I'm looking for that as well, Russ, that would be outstanding.
What am I supposed to look for?
How to get the feed for a YouTube channel. That's the G.
G data? Yeah?
Yeah.
I have it right here.
Excellent.
Somewhere. Hang on. Yeah, everybody should just grab that G data. I gave it in the last week's webinar. I'll give it again. But you can continue along while I pull that up. It's going to take me about a minute.
Okay, so once you have the feed, we'll start off in Yahoo Pipes for a second. And Yahoo Pipes, I'm always lost unless I've got something to go by. So let me just pull up my handy-dandy, trusty-dusty example here in the sidebar while I'm creating this. Okay, so I'm going to create a new pipe. And I'm going to put this image in the members area so that you guys will have something to go by too. Yay! So when you first log in, it's going to look like this. And each one of these, you click on and it pops down a whole bunch of really fun little bubbles. I mean, you can do so many cool things with Yahoo Pipes, but I'm not going to go there today, okay? Honest, I'm going to be good. So the first thing we're looking for is fetch feed, and that's right here. And you just grab that bad boy and you drag it.
Okay, I'm passing it to you now, Sue.
Okay, excellent.
It's on Skype, but it's also on. I'm going to pass it to our users.
Okay,
here,
cool.
Our students.
So you grab fetch feed. You're going to need a couple of them, and awesome. So I'm going to use this thing that he just drugged to me.
Hopefully you guys can see that. I sent it to Vinny, but it's supposed to have been sent to everybody.
Oh, let me just send it to everybody.
Okay, I thought I did. I can never tell what this GoTo meeting is doing, but
all right. So
kind of a trippy feed. I don't know why YouTube just doesn't give it to you properly, but
so this is the tricky bit right here. The author equals, and we'll come back here to our.
Oh yeah, by the way, everyone, the feed that I just sent you is our theme Zoom channel, and you're free, of course, to feed jack it. Please steal it. Okay, cool. But you got to add your own author tag in there.
Yeah. So what I want to do, this is the channel that I want to grab, right? So I'm just going to take the FL byte, and I'm going to replace theme Zoom with that. And then I'm going to just double check it to make sure that it goes where I want it to go. Boom. That's fascinating. I wonder why it only gives me 2. I wonder if that's the V equals 2. Shouldn't be. Fascinating. He had so many. Oh, you know why? He's liked these. Check that out.
Those are not. Yeah, I thought you were looking at that. You want to find somebody's own channel that has active. I'm going to give you a really good example. Just use ours as it is.
I'll just use ours, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the feeds, what you're looking for, like O'Reilly Media, any of the PageRank 5 or greater YouTube channels, those are great examples of how you should publish. And if you're going to deal with playlists, there's currently no way that I know to find feeds for playlists. but I'm sure there is a code for it. We're just not, it's beyond the scope of this. There is a way to braid playlists as well. But
yes, there
not
are.
As far as, yeah.
There is, absolutely.
But that's like, we'll do that in a more advanced maneuver. But here's an example of our YouTube channel.
Yeah, so when you actually
see the
feed, that's what you're looking for, is lots of video there.
Right. And so that's a pretty useful feed, you guys, because, or anything like it, as long as you're in the same keyword or in the tangent co-occurrent themes. All the things with co-occurrence apply. All the things we've taught you over the years, co-occurrence and themes apply. Try to stay within the same vertical, roughly, and if you can get in the same niche, it's great.
So you're going to put the YouTube feed there, and then I'm just going to use the theme zoom feed. It just cracks me up. Oops, theme dash zoom. That shouldn't actually come up with anything. That's fascinating. What is up with my browser?
DNS jacking?
That's possible.
Yeah,
Ever since you sent me that link earlier.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man. Those guys are smart.
I absolutely, well, all right, forget it. I know it works. Hang on. Whoops. Back here at the ranch. Does this have an HTTP in the beginning of it? Yeah. -zoom.com/feed. All right, so those two things are feeds. And then what you want is, what happened to my thingy-dingy? What you want is a union. So back here at the ranch, we're going to come down here, we're going to find union in the list, which should be an operator. Yep, boom, there. All right, so as you can see, this has got a thingy out. I just think that's too cool. And this has got a thingy out. And so now they're unionized. And now I'm going to want to sort. This is why I always have to have this thing, because I wouldn't remember to run it through the sort otherwise. So the sort is here also under operators. Just pull that down there. Run that from there to there. Now, how I want to sort this by is item publish date. So it should be an option here in my little drop down.
Hey, Kevin, I don't understand what you mean by that question, Kevin. Can you clarify?
And I want it in descending because I want the most recent things to come to the top. And then I'm going to connect this to the output. And Bob's your uncle. All right, so that's my thingy.
Oh, yes, Kevin, that is correct, Kevin. You can add multiple URLs using the plus URL function. We're not doing it in this class because we want people to understand the one-to-one relationship, and we want them to see, but thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, you can push this
you
right
can
there.
do,
You can add
there's several shortcuts.
Yeah.
But we want people to see visually. That's why we're using this system. But thanks for that.
So then I'm going to save this. It's going to ask me for a name. And I'm going to call this one feed.
Yeah, don't be trying to educate us, Kevin. Totally kidding, man. So Will, let me just, while she's doing this, let me just answer. Yes, you can combine multiple videos into this thing, but you can do, this is what we're trying to instill in you as a creative design ideas. You're going to do stuff that we're not going to cover and probably do it experimentally. There's really nothing you can't do. The question is, what results will it get you? And sometimes you just have to play.
Yeah, depending on how quickly we get through this, I might touch on some WR2 fun stuff. But yeah, just like to just light your little brain on fire, right? Like you can have, I've got a client right now who's got 14 WR2 sites, right? And you can mix and match those. Like it's not just about taking all 14 of those WR2 sites and braiding it into one feed, which is a great thing to do. Yeah, but you can mix and match. Like I've got, I'll say out of those 14, I've got 3 on one silo, 3 on another silo, 3 on yet another silo. So I can take those 3 on any one particular silo and braid them together and have a really strongly themed one feed that I can do all kinds of fun things with. And then you can take and I mean, as we start to get into social media today, your mind will just go crazy. So the possibilities are absolutely endless. All right, so now I've got this feed. We've saved it, and I want to, they're always moving my cheese, man. I want to, there we go. I want to run the pipe. So when you run the pipe, it's, it should give you the output right here. And so this just like gives you an example, and it's a very, this isn't like a feed example. This is just a nice little GUI example. You can see the actual list here, which is more what the feed would look like. I still haven't ever seen the feed actually look like that. But you can get your RSS right here. So what you want to do is click on that and copy that link location, and then back here at the ranch.
A little tip for everyone: if you're using Mozilla versus Chrome, different browser settings have different ways that they expose the feed. So you have to be a little bit careful of that, because sometimes it's misrepresentative. Like if you go to Feed Burner, it looks entirely different than when you're just pulling it from a browser setting. It really depends. Like Mozilla sometimes doesn't reveal the videos and images and or even the media files when they're actually there. So just remember that what you see is not always what you get with browsers and feeds.
So I have my outsourcers grab that feed, and then we come back here to our spreadsheet, and you just pipe that in right there so that you can lose track of what it is. Actually, that's not. Actually, what they would put in there would be the feed that they braided from YouTube, and what they put in here is the feed that we actually created. So that way you can go back and check and see what feed actually got braided with your feeds, and you can always go back and pick that feed up and do other cool things with it. But we'll do some other stuff with it when we get down here between lines 20 and 23. So the next thing you want to do is go find something that's just a little bit more, I want to kill some of these windows that we don't need. We're going to go find, we were looking for SEO. Let's just look here, and we come here to blogs, and what this does when you're over here in blogs is obviously this is giving you a list of just blogs, right? So search engine land obviously is one of the most that should have a really good page rank. You know that they publish all the time. So search engine land, I wouldn't go with a blog with an RSS that's under a particular blog post. What I'm looking for is the RSS feed for the entire blog. Now you can go and grab the blog off of a particular category. So something like search engine land is going to have some categories that are probably going to, like this category here, right, like SEO. I would assume, overview, what is SEO? What is that? I'm looking for something that's a little bit more traditional category, but I'm not sure that I'm going to find that. Yeah, this is closer, maybe, depending on how often this is. This is a collection. All right, so they haven't set their blog up in a normal blog type style, so I would probably just go grab feed, since search engine land is all about online marketing at the very least. And that's going to come back here, and it's going to get dropped into the authority site that I found. And just to be really clear, I'm looking at how often do they post. November 27th, November 26th, November 26th, so obviously more than once a day, typically. And their page rank is huge, 7. So, and they've got very popular topics, lots of comments on their stuff. So that's why it was a worthwhile thing for me to choose. All right, so based on that, I'm going to come back to my pipes, and I'm going to create another pipe. I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did before. Handy dandy little trusty dusty reminder of what it is I'm looking for. I want fetching a fade. I want fetching another fade. I'm going to put the theme zoom slash feed in there, and I'm going to put their feed in the other one, and I'm going to need a union thingy dingy, and I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to need a sort thingy dingy, and I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to sort by pub date, descending, create the feed out, save it. Dun, 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 da, da, dum. Okay, and run it. And grab the RSS, grab the URL, back at the ranch, pop my URL in there. Okay. So, at this juncture, on line 20, we're going to let Russ talk about Yoast's plugin feed and feed jacking. Are you ready for that?
Oh, wait. Let me get rid of all this stuff.
Stop chatting with users, members,
Sorry.
viewers.
Yeah. Let me see if I have any questions here. Yeah, I just wanted to, I get a lot of questions about this, just so you guys don't think we're blowing smoke about the RSS and why it's different from other things. Let me just pull one of the various sites.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I'm just going to say, Kevin asked if the theme zoom feed should be replaced with your own website. Yeah, absolutely. Either your website or your client's website, and whatever it is that you're trying to put into to create your one feed with, and you're looking for somebody else whose feed is similar. Like that's when I went off looking for search engine land or somebody else that was like SEO oriented. I'm looking for somebody that's an authority that I want to splice this feed with. So shall I pass you the baton here, Russ?
Sure.
All right.
You can.
You are now the presenter.
Okay, I've got to choose a screen.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not letting me choose a screen.
I hate it when that happens. Can I paste?
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Which one?
Category glossary.
Oh, good. All right. Let me see. I've got to open.
You guys want the link to the spreadsheet so you can follow along. I get it now. Hang on just a second.
This is just quick and dirty. I wanted to give you an example, one of many. Those of you who are a little bit more advanced on this call, Vinny, Kevin, and the rest already know that feed jacking is on the increase, not on the decrease. That means that there's automated systems out to take this. So I would ask everybody in this call not to look at anything that's installed in this blog because you will blow yourself up. So don't, this is not
Don't
an
try
example
this at
of how,
home, boys and girls.
This is not to be used as a demo. This is a site that's one of our many WR2 sites that are experimental with low page rank. But I just wanted to show you, I am very happy with Yoast's plugin. He's very blog-centric, and Yoast has had problems with some of his plugins, but there's one of those plugins that we recommend called Video SEO because it's the best of the worst for getting your video thumbs indexed directly into the main search engine. I've talked about that a little bit. But what I really wanted to show you is like in one of his default plugins, and I'm not recommending his SEO plugin. For automated blogs, I use something different. And I know some of you use Ultimate, Jeffrey's plugin and the rest. So that's why I'm telling you not to look at this as a standard. My point here is to Yoast in a lot of his talks, live and the rest talks about RSS feeds. And you can see in his feature, and just sharing this feature with you as representative of a pretty smart thinker who's doing a lot of feed work with both video and RSS automation, both through social media spaces as well as for SEO purposes. And what he added in his design is indicative of why we're talking to you about it as well. There's a function called content to put after each post. You can see there's a call to action here. Okay, so this is really kind of a steal this RSS feed mentality. Wouldn't be putting it in here if you didn't want to drive people back from their readers. Hopefully you know what a reader is, and back from the various locations back to your site. You can also put pre-call to actions within the RSS feed, and he's giving you tokenized stuff. And what he says right here is this feature is used automatically to add content to your RSS feed. More specifically, it's meant to add links back to your blog and your blog posts, so dumb scrapers, it says it right here, will automatically add these links to helping search engines identify you as the original source of content. Now, the stuff that we're showing you is taking that to a whole other level. Okay, so I just wanted to share one of many software applications that were designed based on the principles of what we're trying to teach you today, which is steal this book, right?
Yep.
Hoffman's whole concept there. Steal this video feed. Videos are going through the roof, an average increase, a massive amount of increase. There's more and more automated systems out there for YouTube cloning, everything from Video Swiper to about 5 other platforms that I personally use, experiment with different types of things. And one of the ways that I import all the time in my WR2 ring, which is, again, beyond the scope of this conversation, is I jack feeds in the very precise way that we're talking about. And you can jack those feeds to populate your blogs, which many people do. You can jack those YouTube feeds, for example, are beautiful when using certain plugins and systems on your WR2 web rings to generate traffic signal and increased time on site. So that's really all that I wanted to show you here is, there's many other applications out there. There's kind of some social proof validation. Those of you who are expert, I know this is kind of remedial discussion, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew how powerful optimizing your RSS feeds actually are, both on your blog as well as for the purposes of getting them stolen. You want that to happen because a lot of the scraper systems are not very intelligent that are being used. Was there anything else you wanted me to cover, Sue?
I think that's it for right now.
Okay, you can pull it back off the screen.
Okay. All right.
I would not use RSS link bomber, Goran. It's no longer serviced either.
Okay. So, Pingler. Let me open Pingler. Hopefully it remembers who I am. No,
Goran, contact me at russell@thememuseum.com about that so we can have a conversation. I can talk to you about some pros and cons.
Jeez Louise. Alright, I'll just show you the free bit. I know we have a username and password for it, but it's not in my list at the moment. So on Pingler, the inside looks very much like the outside, except the fact that the free version will only ping you once, and if you set it up on the inside, you can set it to ping once every so many days for a period of time. So you don't want to set your pinger to ping any more often than you're actually going to have a blog feed going through, just as a matter of courtesy. So here's where you can put your keyword, and this is one of those things where I was saying one of the reasons why you want to create as many feeds as possible is because it lets you use all of the keywords that you've got in your DNA braid, right? So you can take at least your top level keywords, gives you the opportunity to use a lot of different keywords. So let's say that we're going to do SEO, and then your URL, you're going to want to use one of these URLs that we created already. So let's just grab this one. throw that in here. You're going to pick the category, and that's the other reason why it's kind of fun to have multiple ones. Oftentimes you don't clearly fall into computer electronics, business, like ours would be more like probably business, or I don't think they've actually got like online marketing down here. Oh yeah, marketing, look, there you go. You can choose up to 3 at a shot, online business. And then you've got your pinging service. Now, I have, as this annotates over here, I have a file of 215 sites. This will automatically ping, I think it's 60 some odd. And what I'm going to do is give you a list, and you can just drop the list in here. It includes all the ones that are already here, as well as a whole bunch more. So you would just paste the list right in that window. On the inside, if you've got the subscription that'll ping it more than once, then you won't have the CAPTCHA thingy. Otherwise, you enter the caption, you click the ping button, Bob's your uncle. It goes off and does its thing, and it's that easy. And the other advantage of being on the inside is it'll come back with some feedback and tell you what's going on with it. So that's Pingler, and on our more advanced packages, we replace Pingler with FeedShark. So you get more pinging, and you get more places pinged. FeedShark's got a pretty small list, but it's easy to use. So not the Pingler's all that difficult to use, but it's just quick and easy. So we showed that in the first one. I don't know that I would actually, I don't know that this is a question, but I'm sure it'll come up. I wouldn't actually put the same feed out to more than one ping service, because they will blacklist you if they receive the same feed too many times. And I had an interesting conversation with one of our members over the course of this last week, who was talking to me about pinging URLs, under the impression that what you're actually doing when you're pinging is pinging the individual URLs that comprise the feed, but what you really do is you ping the feed URL. So again, the more types of feeds you can create, the more often your feed gets pinged, and the chances of these services actually reaching down in and distributing that content are higher. So that's pretty much the thing that we're trying to do. One of the reasons, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different reasons, right? You're putting your feed out there just as you, as well as putting your feed out there. Right now we're splicing it together so that you're combined with ideally some higher authority within the field, so that your content gets read more and just picked up and put in more places. So let's go on to the next thing. So basically what I would do here is all of the original feeds, what I'm talking about is all the feeds that were created up here, are going to get pinged by Pingler, and then all of the new feeds, these 2 feeds that we created here, are also going to get pinged by Pingler. So this is just the difference between our $47 package and our $97 package. And one of the reasons that I'm showing you this is not so much to sell our packages as it is that you guys who are professional online marketers and you're offering this service to your clients, you're getting kind of a feel for what we're doing so that you can mirror that if you want to. RSS submit submissions of splice feeds. Yeah, so then not only do we put it through Pingler, but we'd run it through RSS submit, which is exactly the same thing as what we showed you last week. We showed you RSS submit last week, right? Yeah, RSS submit. So I'm not going to waste your time by covering that again. It's exactly the same as what we did before, just with these 2 feeds that we created here. So the next section, like that draws the line in the sand. That's what we offer. That's the end of what we offer for the $97 package. And then the next aspect that we're going to talk about is raising social awareness using feeds, which is something that, shockingly, I've had a huge number of interest about on the help desk. And so the easiest way to do this is with Twitter feed. When you log into Twitter feed, you have a dashboard, and you can do an absolute unlimited amount in a single account. But the thing that I would recommend that you think about is how you want to break out your markets and your clients. So I'm always coming from the assumption that you're dealing with multiple concepts. Either you're dealing with multiple markets and you're dominating all these markets because it's just the mindset that I'm always in, or you've got a bunch of clients who are dealing with a bunch of different markets. So I try to set it up so that if a client leaves me, or if I'm just doing setup for a client and I'm not going to actually be their long-term online marketer, that I can give them a package that they can walk away with. I'm actually in the middle of trying to have productized our entire setup, right? So that everything is actually a product and I can sell you a product. And so one of the deliverables of a product is a PDF that you can take away and you have access to everything that I've created for you. So with that kind of thought in mind, I would create a different Twitter feed account for every client or for every market. Russ breaks it down a whole lot more granularly than I probably would. So in other words, right now I have a client that's got, I just talked about him a minute ago, he's got 14 WR2 sites and his main website and blog. So 16 different properties. And I would be, as well as a YouTube account and a Facebook account and all that kind of good stuff. And I would deal with him entirely in one Twitter feed account. So the idea being here, what you do is you create a new feed. You start in a whole new process. You create a new feed. You give it a name. Think about that because it's the handle by which you can find it. Like this is where the name shows up. So create a new feed. We're going to call this one feed class. And then the blog URL or the RSS feed URL that you want to have go from point A to point B. All right, I've got another image I want to share with you. Hang on a second. That's not it. And that's not it. Oh, I know why. Just a second. It was actually over here. So let's say that we're going to take your blog and we're going to take your YouTube feed and we're going to feed them into Facebook, just as a for instance. That's going to be what we're going to do here. So my blog feed URL is www.theme-zoom.com/feed, and I can test this. Okay, it likes that. So my advanced settings, how often do I want it to update and post how many new updates at a time? Particularly if you're thinking about Twitter, I like to stagger my tweets out. I don't like all of my tweets to get bunched up. So it can check for new posts. I don't post all that much, all that often. So it can check every 30 minutes or every hour or something along those lines, depending on how quickly you want your stuff disseminated. The other reason you want to kind of think about this is if you're the type of person that goes back and edits. Actually, I'm just going to ignore that because your feed's not going to edit anyway. So every 30 minutes to once an hour, something along those lines, and then it'll go out to your entire audience fairly quickly. Title and description is what I usually post, and shorten through bit.ly, and I'm going to put it back to my post link. I'm always going to include my post link. And then, let me just think about this for a second. I was going to use my own Facebook account. Let me just see if I'm logged in. Hang on a second. All right. So you can post a suffix or a prefix with each one of your tweets. And so like if I were running my YouTube video through here, I might say video : or I might say latest blog post if it's coming from my blog, or something along those lines to just annotate the fact that that's coming from one of my feeds. But I think that makes it look a whole lot more like it's coming from a feed than it normally does. I mean, you can already tell that it's a feed, but I just don't like to advertise the fact personally. This video, however, can get people's attention. And then a keyword filter. Filter your posts by using keywords to auto-approve new posts. I don't actually ever use that. Do you, Russ?
No, there are situations when you want to use that, but it's way beyond what we're doing. It's nice to know it's there, because if you start doing complex feed braiding,
right.
Especially if you pull the one feed from a different source, and let's say you have a fast-moving feed, and you only want to grab the word RSS marketing out of it for some reason, and I've actually started running into those reasons when it comes to creating large web rings of automated blogs. There are times when that might be useful. But no, not for your WR1 really. The best way is to organize upstream, meaning at your blog category and silo function. The cool thing, guys and gals, about silo creation, if you're staying true all the way up the the ladder,
the food chain,
is that you've already got your clusters well organized, and on a blog you've already got feeds that should be keyword clustered already. So you don't need to filter them downstream.
Good. All right, so then that page is pretty much set up the way I want. We're going to continue to step 2. And I can do Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And I can set all of these up to go at the same time. And the only reason why I wouldn't want them to all go at the same time is if I'm doing something interesting with my feeds. Like, let's say, just think about this carefully for a moment. The cool thing that you can do here is you can create multiple feeds within Twitter feed where you're using exactly the same RSS feed, but this time I would go to Twitter, the next time I would go to Facebook, the next time I would go to LinkedIn, and then you can control what it is that you want to have happen on each one of those feeds. So if I go back to step 1 for a second, where I said here in the advanced settings, where I'm checking every 30 minutes and I'm adding a post up to one at a time. I might want to do that way for Twitter, but in Facebook I want it to just all flood in at the same time. So you can, and as you start doing multiple feeds from multiple blogs, in particularly, you'll see where that gets really useful too. So those are all kind of advanced concepts that I just won't go any further within that. So in this particular one, I'm going to load this into Facebook, and it's going to want to authenticate with my Facebook account.
And guys and gals, I do think it's an important point to make that if you go into Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, which are the only services you can use Twitter feed for, Twitter feed is one of many services you can use. It's probably the best. You have to cluster them all with the same amount of update time. That's what she was showing you. So when she showed you that 30 minutes is the recurring time that you're going to publish, it's going to check that feed every 30 minutes. So if you update every 30 minutes on your blog, it's going to publish every 30 minutes on your blog. Now, I don't necessarily want, for example, Twitter to have the same publishing frequency as, say, Facebook, in which case you just got to create another feed panel inside Twitter feed. And so that's what she was saying. Just wanted to clarify that.
So who can see posts this app makes on your Facebook timeline? This isn't going to go to my fan page, is it? This is going to go to my Facebook page, eh?
No, just go ahead and confirm it.
Okay.
Twitter feed allows you to select the page.
All right, good. So then I can determine whether this is going to be friends or the entire world. And if it's my blog, I want the entire world to see it.
Correct.
So now I'm going to go to my app. And, okay, so here I can manage my pages. So I can pick the page that I want it to go on.
Just click Allow.
Oh, just click Allow here? I'm not going to click.
It'll automatically. A Twitter feed takes care of this for you.
Okay.
On their app side.
Cool. Good.
Okay, now at the bottom you can just drop down.
Beauteous.
Now you can choose what page you want it to go to.
All right. Excellent.
Domain Web Studio is pretty safe.
Yeah.
And here's an interesting quirk about this application, you guys. Where it says campaign, you're going to want to put a marker on it somehow to remind yourself which page this is targeting. Because a terrible design flaw in Twitter feed is if you have multiple Facebook pages in one feed, you have no way of knowing when you're looking at them what's going to what, unless you fill out this campaign. So if you know it's DWS Facebook, like she just did, that'll clarify when you drill deeper into it.
Okay. And then create service, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it should update. And here's a key point on this page. You must click all done, or this will not take.
Congratulations.
Now
you're live.
So it should start publishing automatically. And what you need to do is go back to the fan page fairly regularly. Make sure that your Open Graph social settings on your blog are leaving an image.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're getting the colorful image and or video that you want on that blog. If not, you'll need to make some minor tweaks to your RSS style sheet and or add a plugin that effectively integrates with a social Open Graph.
Yeah, and I think we should talk about that in just a little bit. All right, so this is actually pretty much the same thing in fact, it's exactly the same thing for Facebook as it is for Twitter. We need to talk about Twyla here for a second. And for LinkedIn. So what you did for Facebook, you would do the same thing for Twitter. And for LinkedIn, you would grab your YouTube account and do the same thing for your YouTube feed to go to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Or alternatively, you can grab your Yahoo pipes out and you can use that feed for all of these. But I clue you, I have had problems with that. When I'm doing a WR1, the fewer things you have, the fewer cogs you have from point A to point Z, the more reliably it's going to work. And so for these things, I go ahead and go through the extra step, excuse me, of grabbing each one of those feeds and just creating everything that I need within Twitter feed to make that work. So I don't think I actually need to go through and do that. Does anybody have any questions on what I just covered?
Yeah, there's a couple questions.
Okay.
Will, there's a couple ways to change the Open Graph more and more. The blog style sheets are coming with them ready-made. And so some really good blog themes, depending upon what blog theme you use, should already set your Open Graph. If you want to optimize the SEO for your Open Graph, SEO for WordPress by Yoast has a section there that you can use if you want to integrate it. But if you want to include a video and or an image in your blog, there's two ways you can do it. You can either modify the functions.php or add a custom .functions.php file, or you can use a plugin called image in RSS. Okay, and I do have a link to a pretty cool document that tells you how to modify your functions.php in your blog if you want it. If you want to add an image natively to your blog, if you want to hard code it in there. If Sue wants, I can drop it here.
Yeah, I think we should actually include it as a snippet of code in the members area so that they can grab it out of that.
Okay, well, they can grab it off the URL as well.
Okay.
I don't mind giving the source of the code because
that's
it's
cool.
It's been an incredibly useful tip from this friend of mine.
Okay.
But we are also going to include it in. Least I can do is give her a little bit of.
Sure.
One of the things is we will probably need to be really careful with this. Like, we haven't really wanted to get into you guys messing with your style sheet for obvious reasons. So is that what you were kind of getting at, Sue?
Yeah, I mean so there's a couple of different options there, and one of them you update your functions.php, and the downside of updating anything like that is when you update your blog, a new version of functions.php could get overlaid, and then you've lost your thing, right? So I I prefer to use plugins than go in and actually edit the code, unless I've like got it annotated to check it every time I update the blog.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I use custom functions, because it's never overwritten.
Right.
So that's just my preference, because I don't want to do it again, and I don't like. I've had some issues. It's okay. Siskel and Ebert here. We have different opinions.
Right.
But for me, the plot, I've had some inconsistencies with some of the RSS plugins based on the theme, and I got so fed up of trying to figure out if image in RSS plugin is going to work with a particular theme that I just got more accustomed to writing it myself, because it's so important to social media. But both of them work. Like, there's not a right or wrong here. You just kind of got to go with, if you feel really uncomfortable with code and you don't have anybody in-house, you're obviously just going to want to stick a plugin in there, and I recommend that for beginners. I agree with Sue 100% on that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Here's the image. I'm going ahead and drop the link, but you have to sign a disclaimer. We are not going to be responsible for you blowing up your blog with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't email me and ask me to help you fix it.
No way. All right, so I sent it to everyone.
Okay.
And the plugin is called Image in RSS, for a simpler solution, and that will add your image to RSS. Just play around with it a little bit and adjust it.
Brian asked a question, something that I had going on last week was if guys are committed to buying RSS Submit, or if there's another option out there. And we're actually playing with RSS Bot, but it's complicated. And I'm going to come back in the next day or two and give you more feedback. I looked at the PDF, and it actually looks, from the perspective of the PDF, it looks like it's a better written piece of software than RSS Submit. I mean, the images are definitely, it's much more Web 2.0. But aside from that, it's just, it takes into account more things that could go wrong and gives you options on how to get around it, which from a programming perspective I really appreciated. But it also makes it look like it's not just drop your feed in, push the submit button, and walk away for 10 minutes. It looks like it's going to be more hands-on. So we didn't have enough time to thoroughly test and make sure that it was actually doing what it was saying that it was doing, and really give you a 2 thumbs up or not on that project.
Right, exactly. And just keep in mind, you guys, that the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's so under-optimized. So don't kick me, Sue, under the table. I have several guys on Fiverr that I used for just using RSS Submit if you can't afford the $80 software, Brian. The thing is that, remember, they're not going to optimize anything. All they want is your feed. Like, one of the guys I work with is a guy named Alchemy. Any of the RSS Submit, they're just plain RSS. They're not braiding it and doing all the stuff we're doing in our gig, which is why we charge a lot more. It's just quite time-consuming. He'll just take your RSS feed, and all he does is drop it into RSS Submit. And when you find out what about 10 or 20 of those people are doing, they're all using the enterprise version of RSS Submit.
Right.
And they've defaulted to that. And I asked him, he tried using other things for those gigs. It's doing something like 10 or 20 gigs a week. But it ended up being so much easier because he was getting the ping results. He was getting a traffic boost for his clients, in general, for $5. But he's not doing any real strategic strategic thinking and thought like we're doing in the one-feed system. So you would have to hand him all that, which is really what the work is.
Yeah, you would want to do that anyway, right? You're going to come out the bottom of the advanced side of this with 6 different feeds that you're going to want to have run through either RSS Bot or RSS Submit. And so then that's where it gets into. I want to make sure that if it's going to be more time-consuming to run RSS Bot, that you guys are aware of that before.
Yeah,
it's only
exactly.
$20 for RSS Bot at the moment. It's on sale because of Cyber Monday. But,
oh, wow, Cyber Monday. Also, we have the done for you gig as well. If you guys ever just need a quick fix of that, I think we're charging 40-something for it, or 97 for the big one. Yeah. But it's like doneforyou.onefeedtoruletemall.com. Okay, if you want to use our gig. I also have to answer Brian and Russell on Russell S.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that really like the Headway theme. I'm not familiar with it. And Brian, Sue and I have both thoroughly checked out Page Lines, and I do like very much their RSS functionality that they have in there. There's some other challenges that both Sue and I have faced with that
Yeah, I got a
application.
love-hate relationship with page lines.
But what they are trying to do is a great idea.
Yeah.
In theory.
It's just not terribly user-friendly.
No, but I mean, it's better if you're a developer when you use it and get the developer pack. But I really do like what they did with the RSS toggle. It's like so much nicer than just the WordPress default. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Okay, so I'm going to pass you the baton again, and you're going to show them how to create a G Plus account.
Okay.
And then once you've created, or not the G Plus account, but actually take the feed from the G Plus and run it through our software to create that feed, which we did in the free webinar, but we'll just do it again because now it's going to mean a little bit more since you guys now know what you can do with a feed, right? So just run it through our software really fast and show them how to grab that feed. And then, of course, you can take that feed and you can run it through all of the places that you'd be running your other feeds. And then we're going to show you a couple caveats about what not to do. All right, so you are the presenter again.
I feel like we left Eve out. She asked a question a long, long time ago. Should she add all the ping sites to Pingler?
Yes.
You see that?
No, I didn't see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
She said, Eve, what did you say? I saw your question. It was really.
Should we also add the 200 plus ping lists to WP ping function? Yeah, you could. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I didn't even think about that. Sure. And then there was, Kevin was asking if this is the RSS bot from iCanSoft, and it is.
Yeah, same guys.
Have you used that, Kevin? RSS bot? Love to get some feedback on that. Oh, he has. All right. And did you find it was good? You got good results off of that? And did you find was it hard to use?
Well, get up to the front of the class. Unmute him, man. Okay, so learning curve, yeah, precisely.
But it's worth it.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm live. Okay. You guys know about our G Plus RSS software and all that? I hope.
Well, you're going to show them now.
Yeah, but I want to make sure.
So this is the tool that we wrote so that you can get all of the information out of your G Plus account. You can either get the equivalent of the tweets, the status updates, or you can get the equivalent of a blog post. And
and to get there, just go to g-++.com. That's the short URL. In case you want to get into the free trial. We have so much going on that we just are not doing a very good job of keeping it all organized. So I'm not, anyways. So just go to g-++.com. I don't know what you just muttered, but that's okay. Okay, so here's the name and email, and just click it. Even if you're already on the list, it'll take you to the free opt-in area. Okay, and then there's a dashboard. When you first sign into the software, you're just going to have a login just like you do Kraken. And then you just go to the dashboard, and you'll just click projects. You can see that there's already some feeds, and you can buy 2 packs. What does it say? 2 packs?
You can get a single one, you can get 3, or you can get unlimited.
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive. Like the least expensive package is like $7 for, what is it, 1 or 3 or something like that.
For 1.
I should get my products straight. Sorry, it's just not really.
It's okay. We weren't prepared for this.
There's 2 things. Is there an upgrade option? Kevin's asking. That's a good question. I don't know how. It's currently running through PayPal. Oh my God. So.
Yeah, you can't just upgrade. You got to disconnect and reconnect, but you won't lose anything.
Okay, excellent. Really, you won't. You won't lose.
No,
anything.
you won't lose anything.
Now, what makes this a little different? I don't know if you guys can see. Sue, I'm going to slow way down with this. Okay, tell me if I'm being told so many times by people that I make no sense when I start explaining this.
Okay.
So you just audit me?
You bet.
You guys on the call audit me too, because I'm having terrible luck teaching anybody about why what I'm showing you here is valuable. I don't know if it's me
No, they're
or
going to
for
know
something?
now. They
Okay.
have a history of feeds behind them now. That'll be good.
Okay, cool. All right. So the whole purpose of the Google++ course was to talk about the schizophrenia between the Google legacy and the Google personalized results. Everybody understands that, I hope,
Yeah.
by now? Okay. And so what I've done is a lot of this is connected to your dashboard. Okay, so if you go to here's just a Google browser. I'm logged in as a user, and I'm completely sucked into Google's world, and they control and know everything about me within this persona. You can tell because my image is here, and in the upper left-hand corner, you have your Google Plus account open. This means that you're by default logged into Google Legacy. Well, this is where all of this happens, okay? If you go to View Profile, this is the profile that's assigned to your Google dashboard whenever you're logged into Google, okay? And so, let me just move a couple of things around here. The Google dashboard is google.com/dashboard. That's the location where all the stuff on the back end from the developmental level is happening as Google moves more and more towards turning your profile into a verified name. Okay? Meaning they're moving more and more to a cybernetic model where they want everybody to be authenticated. Okay? And we're constantly undermining that by everything that I do and learn and teach so that you can still always have a WR2 web ring. And Sue's entire one web ring to rule them all system is based on hedging against Google owning your identity in its entirety and you having a massive web ring across multiple IP addresses with identities that still pull the same power and clout, literally clout.com, as any other human profile and then drive social traffic combined with SEO traffic. Well, where all that happens is your Google dashboard. Okay, and each account that you open up has a Google dashboard. What people don't know is that the Google dashboard is being moved to the Google Plus on the About Us page. Okay, and this is why the About Us page, specifically other profiles and contributor to, needs to include your author markup tag and your blog identity, which is your yourblog.com/author, okay, as well as your Google Plus and all of your other social media profiles within that web ring that you want people to know about, okay, that you want Google to know about. So when Sue is talking about the one web ring to rule them all, which apparently is the most confusing topic we have, possibly because, you know, it's simply complex. It deals with more web rings, okay? So for each, the way that I set things up is for each blog, a WRS1, what you're looking at on my current profile is the WRS1, okay, because it's Russell Wright, right? You can tell that's me. That actually is a real, sadly, is a real physical identity. Okay.
And I don't want to get too far into WR2 stuff today. Just an FYI.
Okay, then let's not talk about the G+ RSS system. Because there's literally no way for you to understand the value of a Google+ RSS feed. If you don't understand what you're doing here, you might as well not even do it. So tell me when you want me to stop. There's literally no point, because the purpose of the Google+ RSS system is to glue together your Google dashboard, your personalized results, with your legacy results. Does that make sense? Tell me where you want me to stop, Sue.
Well, what I want to stick with are the branded accounts today. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a branded or not. The principle still holds true.
Exactly.
Okay. This is probably what's happening, is people's not understanding me because I can't. I'm trying to help you guys. Guy is asking, branded equals
yes.
golden frame?
Branded is your golden frame.
Well, the golden frame is actually everywhere. So. Okay, so I wasn't teaching that well. Is that right, Sue? Where should I go now? How should I teach this?
Well, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish, is simply to show them that they can go from here, from your Google Plus, and where you've got your content here that you're posting to your Google Plus account that you can create a feed out of that.
Sure. Okay. So can everybody, hopefully you can see, this is my WR1 Google Plus account.
Yeah.
And I just want to emphasize here so you don't think I was intentionally confusing you. It doesn't matter if it's a WR1 or WR2. The directions are precisely the same. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Right.
I was showing them the web ring so that they understood that they still need to understand the WRS1
Yep.
relationship to the WR1.
Right.
And the search engines are how that traffic gets passed from that to that.
Exactly.
And the membrane, the connective tissue that's holding that together, it used to be 20% social and 80% algorithmic. Now it's almost 30, it's a lot more than that, a lot more social than it is algorithmic. And what we're showing you here is a way to bring that together. Okay? So all you have to do is take your code, and just so you guys know, the challenges that we faced is that there's no services out there that do this really well. You just simply create a project in the upper right-hand screen. You take the Google Plus code that was in the upper right-hand corner of the Google Plus. Did you guys, Sue, can you see that? I took it right from right here. Okay, all of you have that as long as you've turned on a Google Plus account. It also works with the Google page. Okay, and so you just take the number of either your page or your personal profile, WR1 or WR2. In this case, it's WR1. You put the Google Plus code in there, and the author name can be demo test. Okay, it doesn't matter what you call it. It can be Russell test. However you want to name it for your clients. The clients can be, okay, and the description can be. And what you want to do is you want to fetch the posts, and this is currently the only RSS system in the world that also pulls the +1s, and then you turn it, I'm only going to get into this if Sue wants us to, active, and you're not going to, it doesn't matter any of these, you can let it default to local categories because this is a personal count. You set it to personal, and you know it's a personal page because you didn't build the page. All right, this is just part of your, it's going to say your name right there. If it's a branded page, it'll usually say theme zoom, something like that, in which case you'll pull that identity in. You can also pull the keyword in and do the same thing. You click Save Project Settings, and it takes about 3 minutes, but you set up the project. It pulls both your status update feeds, which appear on the posts area on your profile. It also pulls the +1s, which hopefully you can see here. Some people do not know about the +1s. Whenever you plus anything, either using this bookmarklet, hopefully you can see a bookmarklet in my browser, or when you use the courtesy pluses on any blog that has it installed as a plugin or in any website that has it coded in, every time you click that once without creating a comment, it automatically will update these. Okay? All right, so these are almost always thematically concurrent. I follow Sue's model of only plussing ourselves, and we have our outsourced team also plus themselves with their own Google dashboards. This definitely affects PageRank, and it definitely affects social edge. Okay, and what we're able to do with this software is create turn both +1s into feed and post into feeds, which you can see it's done here. Russell test. Okay, now you can just take everything that Sue just said. I could right-click, I could copy the link address, and I could pass it to her, and she could put it in the Yahoo Pipes or whatever. Okay, because all of the things that I've ever posted is going to appear as a feed, and then she could mix that feed into other things. Additionally, she could take it into Twitter feed, and which is very amusing for very geeky reasons. You could run Google Plus into Facebook.
Yep.
As a virus if you wanted to play around with stuff. And that gets Facebook traffic to Google Plus, does some funky things. Now the art is then how you use these and what you want to do.
Exactly.
Is that good enough, Sue?
That's beautiful.
That's really all there is to it, and it takes us time and energy for our software developers to keep up with this. All of the Google Plus generators out there that have been free have been around, what, Sue, 30 days or something? 60 days?
Yeah, they don't last very long.
Crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of sad. And you can also edit these at any time. And of course, we have other projects coming that glue all this together, including
Right.
So on and so forth. All right.
So
You can
yeah,
have your
so
control back there.
we've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Can you use the pluses to create a Google Plus feed through a blog?
Yes.
Okay.
There's everybody is asking a lot of questions about going backwards than what we're teaching you here. We've been teaching you only one feed for RSS promotion. I know Stephen. Yeah, there's Stephen. He has that question as well. Yes, folks, you can create a blog out of anything, but should you is the question. And it really, Sue had wanted to keep automatic blog RSS creation out of these conversations because it tends to confuse things. And I agree. We don't really want to get into building blogs from RSS feeds.
That's a whole other class.
It's a whole different can of worms, and there's no way that I'm not going to be able to get into WR2 theory.
Exactly. That is WR2 theory. Exactly.
I've already got busted today for that.
So, I mean, you could probably go back at this juncture and talk more about the WR2 stuff, but I just wanted to keep it simple right there at the very beginning so that they could see that you can grab that part of that URL, you can bring it into here, you can create an RSS feed, and now you can take that RSS feed and do all of the things that we've been doing RSS stuff with for the last couple weeks. So we got a couple more questions.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me on track, Sue. I admit that since I've been doing this for a year and a half, all the help desk questions coming in, I've been not a great teacher with this topic.
Well,
I don't know why.
You think so many different directions all at the same time, and we just have to draw it out slowly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably because with more and more without a solid WR2 network, we're more and more screwed as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want people to understand the value of socializing their secondary networks.
Right, and we will get into all of that. I mean, not in this class, but we will break all of that down and show you guys the entire plan with all three rings so that you see what's going on there. Kevin said, can you take G+ feeds from other influencers, create feeds, and use them too? Or
Absolutely.
Is this, yep.
Mm-hmm. You absolutely can. In fact, if somebody is really a feed demon, and they're on the topic, you can follow some of the precisely same methods. Now, see, I can't even get into this without talking advanced stuff. Most of the automatic video blogs I create only have video links in them. And those feeds are good because then you can take Google Plus as a video feed. It's always got a video feed in it, and video is the most highly coveted feeds out there, whether it's YouTube or the rest. So a Google Plus feed with only videos automating through it is a highly coveted feed. It increases the value of that feed. So yeah, the answer is yes. And if you can find one of those, somebody who's, I don't know, always G+ing automatically videos from blogs that they've automated through YouTube, then that gets really cool. Because then when you mix and mesh with them, because they're videos, they're going to get swiped more, and they're going to tend to have a little more staying power and a little bit more human click-through rate on them. So again, it's not as much value, in my opinion, as YouTube because people are actually actively searching for the YouTube feeds. But, it could be done, and these are things you just have to experiment with and find out, what it is that you're doing. I mean, what it is that if it's effective for you. You've got to look at your weblog files. It's not something I've tested, Kevin, but to me it's not something it's worth testing, seeing what kind of results you get.
Yep. All right, so there's one more thing I want to talk about, and then we're going to get back to the last couple of questions that came in, and that is this concept here. All right, so now that we've talked about Google Plus, what you want to make sure that you don't do is if you're feeding your blog into Facebook and you're feeding your YouTube into Facebook and you're feeding your blog through that plugin into Google Plus, and then you use our handy-dandy little tool to create a Google Plus feed, and you feed that also into your Facebook, what you're doing is you're doubling up on your blog posts, right? So, and I won't say don't do it, but think about it, right? And this is just really simple. When you start to get into this mess, let me just pull this down in size a little bit so that you can see everything, right? So what you've done here, right, you've got 3 feeds. You've got your blog feed, you've got your YouTube feed, and now you've got your Google Plus feed. And you can run each of them through this entire one feed process, which means each of them end up creating 6 different channels. So by the time you're done with this, when you're out here on this side of the genealogy chart, if you will, you've got 18 different feeds, right? So what you want to make sure that you don't do is take all 18 of those feeds and feed them into your one poor little branded Facebook account. Because what will happen is that every time you post a blog post, 18 entries end up in your Facebook account, or 18 entries end up in your Twitter account. So you just want to keep that in mind. You want to have a plan as you're working through this. You might even want to have some kind of a piece of butcher paper out or drawn on a whiteboard or something along those lines so that you keep your feed straight, so that you know where everything is feeding into. What I tend to do, just personally, my own hygiene, is that when I'm working with WR1 branded accounts for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, I go right smack from my blog, well, obviously through Twitter feed and into Facebook, and that's it. I don't do anything else into my branded accounts, and then everything else, including G+, starts to hit my WR2, which I told Russ not to talk about, right? But it starts to hit my social accounts that are not branded, because those things are more easily abused, and you can use Twitter feed to stagger the repetition out over time. And I'm not so concerned about it because it doesn't have my name on it, it doesn't have my brand on it. And actually, when it comes to Twitter, having that stuff be repetitive is useful because, Twitter's like a conversation going on in a party. Unless you're passing close to that conversation at exactly that time, you don't hear what's being said. And the conversation moves on and you move on and you don't hear it. So if that conversation is being repeated over and over and over again, your chances of having more people find you increase exponentially. So that's how I approach that whole idea of repetitiveness. Yeah?
Yeah, and I could also address in collaboration with you. Everybody has a different way of doing it. I do something sometimes different than students. You're going to have your own methods.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this. The general rule of thumb that has kind of helped me help students has been when I say, regardless of how you orchestrate the rhythm of your posts, because it's kind of like Frogger. Remember that game Frogger where there's the logs passing in front of you at different layers? And you're never sure which log is passing in front of you. You never know at what point a prospect or potential customer is getting that tweet at what point during the day. So it's not a question of dupe tweeting, which it kind of is, but it's not as much as don't do more than about 1 post per hour has been my experience that is the most comfortable. Yeah. And Facebook is unique. I really do want to treat Facebook as a unique beast. This is why, because there's something called edge rank now with Facebook. You have to include all that with Facebook, which is an entirely different conversation. But the main thing is what usually gets response on the Facebook fan page, WR1, is an intimately posted, more of a soft touch image than an automatic update. And they do an order of magnitude better to increase your edge rank than automation on WR1s. But for WR2s, which is my focus, I can do it all day long. But there's 2 ways to do that. Follow Stu's instructions here and just make sure that the rhythm of your different imports into your Facebook account is not hitting all at the same time. Another easy way to do that, which you guys have probably already thought of, is just create a unique Facebook one feed so that anything that you've decided to put into Facebook can automatically go through a single buffer and be tweeted every hour using either RSS graffiti or Twitter feed. That way you don't have to worry about multiple feeds and when they're hitting at what point. One of the advantages of a one feed is that you can control the buffer rate of all the different sources into one feed. And I personally use a one feed Facebook system, even for my WR2s, just because I don't really want to remember what's all going in. If I know that these 3 services are going to be blended together and go into Facebook, then I can just create one buffer to rule them all. In other words, every 2 hours you're going to post no matter what it is. The
Right.
downside of that is when those three services are posting so much, if you're only posting every 2 hours, you're going to have a lot of content forever. You're never going to catch up with that feed. And that's really okay if your content is evergreen. And for WRS2 sites, especially my WRS2 automated fan pages, they all have evergreen content. When you're dealing with content that's not evergreen, you really can't afford to have that content stack up for too many days, especially if you're in a news release feed or something like that, because news that comes out today might not be useful 5 days from now, right?
Right.
So if you start posting in retro, it looks a little weird for your user. So consider all those things when you're doing this, okay?
Yeah. So one of our members made an interesting comment that this was the first time they realized that WR1 content feeds can cross over to WR2. And I just want to say this, like, that's been the whole premise of all the rings, right? Your branded content, your quality content is the thing which actually feeds all of your rings. It's curated and repurposed and repeated over and over and over again so that you are ubiquity.
I want to make something really clear here, Eve, because I don't think it's really clear, as Sue and I talked about it. When we're talking about mixing your feeds with other video sites that are not your own content, which is like one of Sue's biggest taboos in the world. Like every fiber in her being resists even mixing feeds with other people, even for SEO purposes. All right? We're not talking about putting any of those mixed feeds into social spaces.
And into your WR stuff. You don't put it back up on your own sites.
If you remember the SEO blending technique, one feed, okay, creating a one feed for SEO, that is completely different. You don't want OPC, other people's content, OPV, other people's videos, running through your social media spaces. Does everybody understand that? Don't do it.
Especially through your WR1 stuff. Your branded stuff. Absolutely not on your WR1.
I would never do it even on my WR2 Facebook pages, especially.
Yeah.
You might do it on your other stuff like Twitter, but there's no reason to. Why give traffic to other people even through your WRS2s? But it is useful for SEO purposes, for feed jacking, to get you rankings on the engines. Okay, that's the only, Sue, you may disagree with this. That's the only way that I use it. I don't want any clicks going to third-party platforms unless it's curated on my own sites, unless the golden frame is my own, even if that golden frame is a WR2.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope that makes sense, Eve.
So creating a solid WR2 with solid persona and WRS2 will insulate you from the coming SE nuke extreme link slaps.
What do you mean? What do you mean the coming?
Yeah.
You mean that has already been?
So let me. Like you want a layer. You want at least one layer between anything that you're doing that's gray hat, and I would say 2 layers between anything that you're doing that's black hat and your money site. So if you're using, there are ways that you can use SE Nuke and Xroomer that aren't excruciatingly black hat, but, they're slow and tedious. So if you're going to automate anything and run the risk of having links that could eventually be identified as automated spam, then clearly you don't want that pointed to your money site, right? Like I've said this from the get-go. Don't point that stuff at your money site, because if your money site gets slapped, if it gets put in the sandbox, it can be hellaciously difficult to get it out, and you might find the cheapest option being to completely rebuild your site on a different domain. Ouch. Okay? So social media sites can absorb that kind of link juice easier, that kind of link hate, I should say, easier than your money site. I'm still not sure that I would point garbage to my branded Facebook page or to my branded YouTube page. You can, but you just think about it a little bit. One of the reasons that I've got 3 rings is because the absolute garbage black hat stuff goes in that 3rd ring, right? And it points to the 2nd ring. And then the 2nd ring is gray to white, and that's what points at my money site. So I've only said that a few times because that's the kind of stuff that we really get into detail in certification. But since we are talking about feeds here and what you can do with them, and the fact that you can get carried away pretty easily, I'll just go ahead and put that little gem in there. All right. Any other questions? It's been quiet on the question front for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see, Brian. Yeah, I think I answered all of Brian's questions. Yeah. Ruben answered, do you merge feeds from WR1 and WR2? I think we kind of covered that, and the answer is it depends, like almost every answer.
You absolutely can merge WR1 and WR2, but just whatever you do with that, don't put it back into your WR1S sites. Like that.
Yeah.
Anything that when you start incorporating stuff from WR2, make sure that goes to WRS2 and WRS3.
Right. And here's a little, just to simplify, if I can, because I'm practicing simplifying this stuff. I think the biggest confusion, you guys, is the difference between RSS for the bots and automation and RSS for human beings. And I think part of why I've had a hard time teaching the Google Plus thing is if there is anything that's really both, kind of like the final frontier of both for bots, that is for indexing as well as for social, it's that one. It's that particular environment because it's a microblog, right? But it's also carries huge social traffic signal for Google Analytics and or any other blog traffic signals. So that's part of the reason that we created RSS out of it. And it's a little confusing because it's very optimal for bot as well as social integration. It's kind of that union between those two worlds, at least right now, as far as Google, wherever they may end up somewhere entirely different with all that. But right now, it really is a useful function, and you can see the credit you get from your social status inside analytics or other tools. So hopefully, if you can begin to think clearly about your empire in terms of, okay, what's for your rankings, how is RSS useful for your ranking integration, and then what is for your social, and make sure that you're putting those together in the right place. So Will's question about can you mix WR1 and WR2? Well, absolutely, because for me, most of that is my own content from my own network. And hopefully there's a call. Here's another thought. Hopefully there's a call to action for all of it. Hopefully remember, garbage in, garbage out. If you're putting garbage onto your blogs and there's no call to action and there's no clear distinction and the domain is a buyer's intent domain without any clear, compelling, interesting reason for somebody to stay there, then you're going to have garbage from the feeds as well. So include your call to actions on the feed. That's why Yoast added a call to action directly in the RSS as a blog plugin, so that you get conversions on that feed. So whether it's a human or a bot, you cluster your keywords based on silos. And the cool thing is if you're following Sue's website silo architecture model or anything else that we've done on your blogs, your RSS feeds are going to be pretty well clustered. You see how it's top down? If you've been following Domain Web Studio and Kraken and these other issues, you're going to have an ultimate feed cluster of keywords. As a result, your feeds are going to be pretty awesome. They're going to be semantic. They're going to be integrated if those are the content words that you're providing. Now it's just a question of getting them out there, getting them pinged, getting them indexed, and getting them associated with other feeds that are high page rank and sites and get them feed jacked in that environment. So it's not really rocket science. It's just about mapping your empire out really clearly of when is it for robots, when is it for social spaces. When it comes for social spaces, really only drive links back to your own platforms. Kevin asked the question, does Ultimate SEO have RSS footer header?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't use Ultimate SEO to its fullest extent, but I don't think that it does.
Kevin, I've never used it, so I can't answer the question. I was hoping you would answer it for me. All right, you guys. We are open for more questions. Okay. We are open for more questions, but I think we may have used them up. Sue, or do you feel like we've covered everything?
I think we've covered everything.
One last thing I would like to add for those of you who are asking about the Google++ RSS feed, you can bring your own proxies, and a little issue came up where somebody didn't understand why it was updating, why it was not updating. It updates 24 hours, every 24 hours, unless you bring your own proxy. So you can bring your own proxy from one of the various services, and we do recommend a couple, and then it will update every hour. Okay. Okay. That's good to know, Kevin. He's saying that we'll need proxies for some other things.
Okay.
All right. So that's all that I have to say. Eve's got one more question for you, Sue.
Create backlinks to broadcast channel. Oh, you know, originally we were going to create backlinks in a couple of different ways, but in the end, we decided that the best way that you were going to create backlinks was through the social signals here. So the other services that we were looking at, they don't actually reach inside the feed and create backlinks to everything in your feed, which was what I was hoping for. And if any of you guys know of an application that will do that, please let me know.
Vinny? Hey, Brian, to ask your question, buyproxies.onefeedtorulethemal.com. I'm going to go ahead and post that here. We already have the proxies that are currently working, but you can pull them from any source. I'm going ahead and leave that for you now.
Okay. Guy actually asked, what is a proxy? And that's actually a good question. I don't know that we've ever addressed that anyway. Yeah. So a proxy is something that does something for you. In other words, if you vote by proxy, then somebody actually votes in your stead. And so a proxy, that's the old-fashioned non-electronic proxy, right? So an electronic proxy is a place on a server that will allow you to talk to that server, and it will pass that information forward for you as though you were talking from that particular server. So in other words, it's a way that you can change your IP address, it's a way that you can change your country, because all of those things are location-based. And so, so to use a proxy is a way for you to mask your identity, or a way for you to do things that services would prefer that you don't do. So in other words, if you want to ping Google a whole bunch of times and get more information out of them than they want to give to a particular IP address, you can use a series of proxies in order to do something like that. That's kind of a black hat way to use proxies. And a white hat way to use proxies is if you just want to cloak your identity on the internet.
Right. And I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence here, but there's also a service called Hide My Ass and all those other ones. Those are desktop applications designed to cloak your browser. They are not proxies.
Well, they are a proxy, but they're a proxy designed to cloak your identity, as opposed to a proxy that you can use for a service. So what
Let me rephrase myself. You don't have access to using the proxies when you buy that software.
Right. You can't take that proxy as an IP and plug it in someplace else and use it that way. So
precisely.
There are a couple of different kinds of services in that regard. And proxies come in all different flavors. You can have private proxies and public proxies and secure proxies and unsecure proxies. And that's, I'll let you do a little bit of reading to figure out what the differences in all of those are. You want to use a secure proxy. Like, I just wouldn't recommend using an unsecure proxy. All right. Any other questions?
Okay. Thanks, Vinny. I'll take a look at that. Well, it's been a real pleasure. Sue, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to help with this.
My pleasure, Russell. Thank you.
I mean, you pretty much created the whole thing, and it's been giving great results. Those of you who need more information, contact the help desk. Also, doneforyou.onefeedtorulethemal.com is our current product where we do it if you can't be bothered. Oh, yeah, sorry. There you go, Don. doneforyou.onefeedtorulethemal.com. I'm going to drop it right here, just in case you are lazy like me. I'll type it in here. I'll go ahead and send that to everybody.
I just want to show you Twyla. I realized we didn't do that.
Oh yeah.
So Twyla is this really cool thing that will take all of your tweets and turn it into a magazine. Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
And so this is the Theme Zoom Twyla account. I mean, I think it's really cool because if you've got images in your feeds, then it comes out really, really pretty. And you can also look quite quickly and see how thematically relevant you are, right? And you can actually get page ranked with your Twyla account, and that also provides you backlinks. Speaking of backlinks that you were going to talk about, and or that I was going to talk about. Let me just turn my phone off. Hang on. And so you can run your Twitter feed. Actually, when you sign up for Twyla, you have to jump through a little bit of a hoop, but I think it's worth it. And that's just because she's trying to keep it from becoming spammy. And shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, you sign up for it, and can take a little bit of time to get your invite, and you have to have 60 tweets. And once you get it hooked up, you just plug in your Twitter account, and it'll take everything from your Twitter account and create a magazine out of it. How do you get the content curation, keyword silo rankings, these things up at the top? Does it do that automatically?
You can go in and select your featured stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot about Twyla I haven't gone into, and they've just made some radical adjustments. They also have something called a power tweet. If you're not a huge fan of Twitter and you like people to arrive on a page that isn't so trivial, they can arrive. Each one of these posts has a page that looks a little bit nicer. I found that it passes a little bit of page rank. But you can adjust what your categories are if you don't like how it's formatted. But it's really a good practice for WR2s when you've got 100 automated video blogs and they're tweeting out automatically. You can visit the Twyla account once you get an invite, which really should be a one-to-one relationship on your persona.
Yeah.
And you can see whether or not your blogs are really topically clustering around the theme that you want, just at a glance. So it's almost like turning the whole thing inside out. If Twitter is the lowest common denominator, turning those Twitter accounts into thematically relevant. Let me give you an example of what it does. You're going to be very, very hard-pressed in this blog to find any leaky funnels. Even if you go to content curation and you see the other people, stuff that probably neither Sue or I would ever endorse, if you click through it, that's really a pretty bad image. If you click through it, you're going to get to ads. Okay? If you try to click, it's going to end up on a WR2 platform that we own. We're not tweeting other people's stuff, ever. Okay? When you click through on any of these locations, you're going to end up on one of our platforms. It's going to be driving traffic signal, and sometimes you don't really know it until you really look at your Twitter account. And what Twyla does do very well is it allows you to look at what are you really tweeting. Are you tweeting pictures of your dog in the front yard? Or are you tweeting stuff that's relevant to the theme cluster? And this becomes very important, you guys, because the way that we teach to build Twitter followings, besides manually, is also to build things. That's also our TwitPic account.
I figured.
Is to build things. Yeah, you're not going to find an escape. There's no escape from our platforms. You can spend all day on here, and you will. And it's because of the way that we set it up. And think about that. How many times today have you tweeted somebody else's link? Well, if you tweet someone else's link and they go to your Twyla account and you get page ranked to that, it's going to escape to another location. So Curation Empire is our video blog, and you can't even escape to the YouTube channel because we have it blocked. Okay, so we really like to, there's a call to action, content curators usually go broke. That takes us directly to our sales page for content curation, and I get plenty of traffic from this stupid blog. It's not even finished yet. All right, so if you go to the Google Analytics, you'll see that I get traffic from Twyla. So think about that. You literally turn Twitter on its head, which is the lowest common denominator, and it gives you a good way to kind of theme cluster stuff. And if you do things just right, you can actually drive page rank to Twitter posts. And if you've misused Twitter and social media that is tweeting OPC, other people's content. You're going to have a leaky platform. And there's no reason to do that. Link to, like Sue says, if it's worth tweeting, it's worth tweeting from your own platform.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what we're really talking about here.
So Ruben asks, why do you ping when merged with high traffic sites? They're supposed to ping and also take your RSS. So what happens when you merge with another, like over here on this Yahoo Pipes, you're merging with somebody else's RSS feed. You're actually creating a brand new RSS feed. So that's the RSS feed that you're going to ping. And what you're doing is promoting your own content, which is now braided with that other content. Will you share how to block escapes like to YouTube?
No.
Okay.
That will probably be only a part of our, we are not actually going to be publishing a course live in network on PinViz. We're going to have a private group, like coaching group instead, because it's just kind of gotten out of hand. But we will reveal that during that private coaching course, probably the beginning of the year, end of December, whenever Sue decides.
Yeah.
It'll be very exclusive, and it'll be limited to about 10 people.
And you'll have to send coffee and chocolate.
Yeah. And Don, I had to write something, and it was based on code that Sue actually put together for me, and I just created a plugin out of it.
All right.
All right.
I love you guys. You're spectacular. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
yeah, thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao.